Featuring D'Addario's proprietary NY steel wire and our impossibly thin protective coating, XS Electric lets you bend further and play longer with a sound that stays timeless.
Hey everyone, this is Chris Keys for Premier Guitar. Today we're in Chattanooga at the Signal. Very special episode. Not only do we have Wolf and Chip here to talk guitars and gear, but we're actually going to unveil, or I guess officially, unofficially, talk about the SA-126. And we got the creator and the guy that's probably been road testing these for months and months. So guys, kind of take it away. Talk about the relationship, where you started. I know that, I've seen your guys' performances, I'd say the Kimmel, other performances live where you had the 335, so has a similar kind of vibe, but I'm sure it's very different. So just talk to us about everything.
Yeah, I think the main thing was, when I started doing this, was that I wanted to find my own sort of sound and not just kind of just do everything Dad did.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll get into the amps later and stuff, but like when it came to the guitar, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew I didn't want to sound exactly. I wanted to sound like myself. Mm-hmm. And through just kind of recording and having fun, I ended up tracking with a 335, and that sort of hollow body sound ended up being what sort of became the base for all of Mammoth. And so it was really since then that it was like, want to make something that has the DNA of the EVH brand, but something that it doesn't offer.
Yeah,
that's more my speed. I don't know, because it's 335s are great, but it's like their necks are like a baseball bat, and it doesn't really lend itself to playing fast and sort of what the brand is known for, sort of performance sort of guitars. And so that this is kind of the merging of that classic warm hollow body tone with the performance aspect that the brand is known for.
Now Chip, how did you take what he is associated with Mammoth and the sound that's been created in that first album, the 335 that we spoke about, and create it into a silhouette that's still familiar with the brand and kind of what the EVH brand has been bringing to the people for years now?
Well, it started with some sketches, some renderings. God, we've been at this one for about a year now.
Yeah,
developing this thing.
And it was so frustrating because so many people are like, you need to play something with the brand. It's like, dude, I'm working on it.
We're working on it.
Like,
Can't talk about it yet, No, but there was a lot of back and forth, a lot of tweaks. I mean, how many times did the headstock shape change?
Yeah. It's
right before they went out on this leg of the tour, I was up at 5150, shaving the necks a little bit thinner, and getting them all, because I think we started out with 3 different neck shapes.
Mm-hmm. And then we kind of landed on basically like the thinnest we could, that the neck would let us go.
And then the others had to match it. So we did that recently, and it's a work in progress. And like I was saying with Ronnie, this is just kind of what we've always done with EVH, is we come up with something, we tweak it, and see if it survives.
Yeah, if anything, it's sort of an extension from our exploration with the bass by making the Wolfgang body a bit bigger.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Except in this case, it's making it a hollow body.
Mm-hmm. And talked about, like, I know that Kevin, the publicist that's off camera that helped facilitate this interview, talked about there's some Easter eggs in terms of design and some call outs with the headstock, obviously with the fret markers. You have the alluding, I'm assuming, to Mammoth with the. But can you talk to us about that?
From every angle, it's a W, it's an E, it's an M.
So that's a cool call out.
I think the biggest thing is that people don't really realize that the F hole is really an E hole.
There it is. Yeah. Right there.
Well, the name itself, I think what I love about the name so much is that anybody who could just read it and not really think much, that's just the designation, but it's Dad's birthday, so.
Yeah, so that's such a cool way to, not only bring something new to the EVH brand, but also continue its legacy in terms of where it started.
Exactly.
There has to be some common familiarity.
And I'm sorry to cut you off, Chip, but what is going on here between these three? These are 3 iterations, or like 1, 2, and 3 in terms of prototypes, or what makes these so different?
This was the first one.
Okay.
Yep.
That was the very first one.
That was the very first one, and you can see on this one we moved the jack.
Yeah.
That's where it used to be. Now it's on top like the other two. It used to have regular strap buttons, but now we're back to the way it should be. But yeah, this was the first one. I think when you first got it, it just had an oil finish, and
it was
just
barely...
raw wood. It was just raw wood. So I took it back, just put lacquer on it, so it would have something on it during.
And it
the
really
tour.
made the front just look incredible.
Yeah, it brought the top to life for sure. So yeah, just thin coat of lacquer on it so it just wouldn't get stained up and messed up and be unstable on the tour.
Anything obviously I see between these two quickly is the one has the pickup covers removed. Is that the only thing different, or is there different voicings or pickups that you've tried out through the various prototypes?
We did try different levels of heat on these pickups, but remarkably, it's the lower heat that really brings these things to life. I mean, this isn't, a monster screaming
I feel
high
like
output pickup.
any more heat, it'd just be screaming the whole time. You wouldn't be able to control it.
And one thing we noticed when we were doing the sound testing up at 5150 is that it got so hi-fi once we started dialing that heat back, and it just, whereas the previous instruments were kind of a narrow focus, plugging these in right after it.
It had such a wide breadth of
It was very noticeable right off the bat. We knew we were onto something. We didn't put covers on that one just to lend to the vibe of it. And because of that, the pickups are a little bit closer to the strings, and I think that one's probably got a hair more sizzle to it.
Yeah. Okay. I know Matt's always like, play this one the most.
Yeah.
And I just love it just because it's on the last Van Halen tour, Dad's main was a white relic. And so I wanted it to be that color. And Chip obviously did a
I gotta
phenomenal
admit,
job.
it was emotional and felt great to do that one. It kind of felt like a full circle kind of moment for me.
Yeah, I mean, just look at all that. Look how good. You put it in the freezer for how long?
A couple days to get it to do that. Yeah, because it's a very thin coat, and it just kind of evolved to that, and we had to get the checking and everything. So, but much like the tour relic that your pop played, and like I said, it meant a lot to me to paint this one in that vein.
That's such a cool experience, to have that type of continuation, the bridging the gap, and pushing it forward, but also still paying homage to the past.
Indeed.
Now, I don't want to put you guys on the spot because you're the player and you're the designer and the marketing guys are marketing, but do we know anything about like if that's going to be available to the public, or is that kind of just a special thing for Wolf?
It's all very much still
up in the air.
We're, as my dad would call it, we're in the crash testing phase right now, and I think there's no, I mean, obviously we want to bring this to everybody, but in the capacity and color and what that will be, I don't think is decided yet.
Gotcha.
But I think that was ultimately the test is just coming out with these and seeing what people think, and people have been just super stoked on socials about them. It's been really cool to see everybody's
hands on them.
To see everybody's thoughts on them.
I gotta admit, I was glued to social media at the first few shows, seeing all the comments pour in about, what is that? What is that? Oh my God.
Yeah, so it's people have been really excited about it, so that's got us excited to really get it out to everybody.
And to not to belabor the point, but Chip, is there anything we should know about itty bitty specs in terms of scale length, tuners, anything like that, hardware, in terms of what you're using?
It's a work in process. We're really growing attached to this big harmonica bridge. That mass tends to really help this guitar quite a bit.
Okay.
The scale length is 24 3/4 at the moment. That could change. I mean, I almost hate to call out specs because we're crash testing. It's evolving. We've already got a small list of things that we're going to change.
Just to check out and see how we can tighten stuff up. So,
but it's getting there. It's getting there.
And Wolf, before we let Chip excuse himself out of the conversation for a minute, what are you using for strings and brand and gauge?
I've been with D'Addario for a really long time, and basically, normally, I think for most of this tour, I've been running 10s. Nines.
Wow.
Exactly. So usually, I think every now and then, what I'm most comfortable with usually is when I use 10s on the EA and D, and then use 9s for soloing. So that's kind of
like a hybrid.
Kind of a hybrid. But yeah, but between 9s and 10s, that's usually where I sit. You know, I think only time I'd ever use 11s would be like tracking rhythms or something.
Yeah.
You know, but that's usually where I sit.
Well, cool. Well, Chip, thank you so much. We'll
My
talk to you
pleasure.
in a minute when Ronnie comes back, and
Sounds good.
we'll move on to amps.
dude.
As we'll see going through the interviews here, everyone's using EVH, but Wolf, talk to me about which one you're using and why you selected this.
Yeah, I'm using the 50 watt 6L6, just straight up out of the box, just like everybody else's. Honestly, it's just it's the one that works most for me. I'm just kind of sitting on the blue channel mostly.
Okay.
I think like Frank, we just kind of roll down whenever we need to. Like I don't think I don't even think I hit the green channel at all during the set at all. I only hit the red for solos.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it just it's really fun that we were able to cater all of the heads to each player. You know, just John fits better with the EL34s, and the 6L6 just seems to be perfect for me. And then for all the lead stuff that Frank does, you know, the S seems to be working out perfectly. So it's fun to be able to play with the different tones of each and have them all merge together.
Yeah, and I'm sure to use the band name, it probably has a Mammoth sound.
Definitely. 3 guitars. Everybody's always like, why do you need 3 guitars? It's like, because I can't have 4.
I mean, work for Skinner.
Right?
Now, did you track with this? Obviously, I'm sure you have a cavalcade of amps at your disposal, but are you partial to the 6L6? When it comes to that?
Honestly, when it comes to tracking, it could be any of them, but live specifically,
Okay.
this one seems to be the one I'm into the most.
And I think, as we will speak to the rest of the guys, that you guys are all running standard cabs, nothing
Yeah,
special
no,
about
this
them.
is all factory issue straight out of the box. So,
Well, that's killer, man.
Yeah.
Let's move on to pedals.
sure.
All right, Wolf, we're at your pedal board. Not too much going on.
we
A lot
are.
of some familiar faces looking at you. So talk to me about what you're using and how you're using it.
Yeah, honestly, it's pretty simple. There's not too many things I really need. It's more just kind of for fun.
Yeah, that's what we need.
I
It's
mean,
fun.
I got my tuner over here, but most of the time it doubles as a mute more than anything.
Okay.
Because I've got one over by the keyboard, and when I got certain things, I need to hit the mute really quickly.
Yeah.
So basically, I've got every EVH pedal except the overdrive. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got the wah, obviously. I mean, everybody knows what that is. But I do that for, gosh, what? The solo, and You'll Be the One I actually use a talk box, but the easiest thing, just live.
Good stand-in.
It worked. Yeah, it's a good stand-in. I've got the Phase 90, the flanger, the chorus. I kind of swap between the chorus and the Phase 90 every now and then for certain parts. I don't know if I've even decided what I like more for certain. I think I'd think it over. I've been having a lot of fun just deciding what to use for the harmonic part. Yeah, really the main thing that I'm not really messing around with is in distance. For the solo, I really need the afterneath and the delay to do the solo for that part. If you know it, it's. Just to have that sort of never-ending sort of thing,
like loop,
rolling
yeah.
on top of each other. But everything else, it's really just for fun. I mean, I have the gate looped in through the effects.
Okay.
The noise gate is really helpful if you're playing. For me, it was Bogart's in Cincinnati. That was really hot. The stage was so hot. The mic was shocking me as I was trying to sing. It
Wow.
hurt. It hurt. But yeah, pretty much. There's nothing really that I've done on the album that necessitates any pedal except for the solo and distance.
Really?
And I guess You'll Be the One with the talk box, but I kind of sub that with the wah.
So the other three at the top are just kind of
Yeah,
fun.
it's all for fun. I know in Mr. Ed before the solo, I do this flanger thing where it's like. But other than that, it's pretty much just like, what do I feel like hitting?
Yeah, which is the fun of being a guitar player.
Yeah, I mean, more than anything, I'm just swapping between 2 and 3 on the EVH, just because just to get that extra bit for the solo.
Now, have you interacting with these guitars as long as you have on stage and stuff? Have you ever had to deal with actual unwanted feedback?
Yeah, but I mean, the gate pretty much takes care of that.
Got it. I didn't know if like the semi-hollow nature of the instrument.
Honestly, not too bad, at least in comparison to anything I've done before. If anything, it's better.
Okay. Yeah, well, especially when you got someone like Chip that can help.
Chip is a master, so very lucky to know him at all.
Well, Wolf, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. We're going to talk to the rest of your bandmates.
I'm so boring. It's pretty straightforward.
I think a lot of people are going to be very excited about this information you've provided and the guitars that they will get to play and enjoy in the coming days. All right, now we're with John. John, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How you doing?
You are one of many guitar players in this band, which is cool, but you all have a different kind of vibe and different thing you bring to the table for the greater Mammoth sound.
Yeah, man.
And so let's dive into your setup. Let's start with what you consider your number one.
Right now, the
Where
number
you play
one.
the most.
Yeah, this guy right here, the custom Wolfgang, stop tail. This is an old not old prototype. This is an old production model, but I love it, man. It's great. It rips, and this is number 2 in the set. So all the drop stuff and everything like that.
And what kind of the difference? Obviously, they're different guitars, but why do you like one versus the other? Obviously, this one you probably played more and got more familiar with, but why do you like this one compared to all the iterations that have come out after it?
One of the biggest things for me was the stop tail. I really like to dig in, on the right hand and stuff like that. So I wanted to keep that kind of stationary, but the back of the neck is all like kind of nice and carved out and worn in, and it feels awesome. It's just, when you pick it up, it feels like an old instrument that you've played for years and years and years and stuff like that.
In my ignorance to that particular model, is that how it came, or did you sand that neck down to what you wanted it?
So it came originally, I believe, as a gloss. Okay. And then I believe Chip at the custom shop at Fender did all the kind of wear and whatnot on the back of the neck. All of this relicking and kind of checking and stuff was all done there too. And it feels amazing. It's like that. It's just hard to put that one down. This one's amazing too. I love it. It also feels great, but there's just something special about the back of that neck.
And should we know anything about that's been changed or different, whether it's pickups or electronics or hardware, or is this all stock? All
stock. This one did have a piezo put in. I'm not currently using that for this set, but it's in there just in case. So it's got some other options and stuff, but I just use it bridge pickup kind of all the way down the whole set.
Cool. And what about Mr. PRS over here?
This one is it's just a platinum. It's again stop tail. These are the 5815 pickups. Okay. Rotary, luminlay, side notch, which are nice, especially on a dark stage and stuff like that.
What does the rotary do for this guitar? Is it kind of like a 355, like a Veritone thing?
It's 5-way, so you got humbucker, single coil, humbucker.
I guess I didn't also realize that there was no switch, so it takes place of a 5-way switch.
Yeah, that one's nerve-wracking too, because if you're on the, in the middle of the show and you don't know where it's at, like a switch, it's like hopefully. But yeah, again, it's bridge pickup all the way for the whole set, pretty much.
And what should we know about strings, brands, and gauges?
We're doing the Dunlop 11s. 11 to 52s, yeah.
And on both.
Yeah, same thing on both. Yeah.
Cool. Well, keeping it in the family, EVH to EVH. Talk to me about this beautiful amp.
Yeah, dude, this is the 50-watt EL34. So this is like a bit more British voiced a little bit. We all use the 50 watts, so it's a way for us to kind of, when everything's straight up the middle, even everything fits a little differently in the mix. Yeah. So it helps with the 3 guitar players. Everybody has a place, kind of. But the 50 watts, man, they're so loud. It's like I couldn't imagine having 100 watt at this point. I love that too, but these are just so awesome. Yeah. You get everything you need. 3 channels. I really only use 2 of them. They're the clean and the main blue channel, I think, that everybody loves. Yeah. So.
And what about speakers in this cabinet? Should we know, is it stock EVH 412 or is anything different?
All stock. The grill's been removed, obviously, here. That just kind of helps with looking awesome.
Yeah, and, I was going to say it's an aesthetic thing.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also cool because when we're out, we can immediately tell where the mic's at, if it's on the cone or if it's on the side or whatever. But yeah, stock cabinet, and I believe 16 ohms, everything like that. So, but they're killer, man. And all of us, I believe, are running the same cabinets as well.
Cool. Well, let's move on to your pedal board.
Yeah, brother.
All right, we're over at your pedal board, John, and I see some familiar stuff, but I see some stuff I'm severely intrigued by just graphically. So walk me through your pedals and what you got here.
Yeah, so here I have, at the heart of everything is the Boss ES8, which is kind of like my switching system that handles all the individual loops. Yep. And then from there, so anytime I hit anything in the set, I'm just hitting this guy, and it's turning stuff off and on.
Easy peasy?
Yeah, we have a tuner, Peterson tuner, a gate made by Fortin. That's fed by a key input, so it's real clean, real tight, and everything.
It's funny because he makes probably the loudest, most aggressive amps that are available
Right.
or up there. So it should make sense that he should also come up with a solution
Exactly.
to such a thing.
When I saw that, I was like, this guy probably knows noise, so I'm going with that.
All right, keep it moving.
Yeah. So other than that, we have the main amp tone, which is. So that's just the 50 watt, and then from there, usually when I'm running my main tone, I run this this preamp boost on it, made by Frost Giant Electronics, and it's just a nice, like a little bit of a boost. It's like just a little extra that kind of keeps the amp feels pushed a little harder.
All right.
So that's my main tone, and then from there, we've got the Electronic Audio Experiments Halberd, which is essentially like a distortion, but for that guy, I'm using it for. Some of the let's see here, one of the songs Stone. So that's just a clean channel, but just with that guy.
Oh, all right.
And I'll use that same effect on my main channel. So it's just a little bit different, just to kind of vary it up through the set.
Mm-hmm.
Then we've got the MXR flanger, which is nice for just fun shit, that kind of stuff. And from there, the Iron Horse by Walrus, which is...
I can't say that I've ever seen that, at least graphic representation of the Iron Horse. I've seen it quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's an old pedal for them.
Yeah, and it's like, I think it's the V3, and it's
Okay.
like a Halloween edition or something like that, so I had to get it, black,
yeah.
and it looks evil. But that's just real nasty. Yeah, and other than that, we've got the Eventide, which is kind of like a catch-all.
Yeah.
Anything that I can't fit on the board, that's got probably some preset in there saved up. So just a little bit of a reverb on that. And that pretty much gets me through the whole set, man. Just from there, what's cool about the ES8 is you can combine and change the order of stuff, which completely, changes up the tonal options as far as like, even if you have two pedals, like one into another versus the opposite.
Are you ever switching things out, or is this kind of like, this is your Mammoth board? Or are you an experimenter during tours and stuff?
Totally an experimenter, yeah. Like the Yama by Frost Giant is new.
Got it.
Before this, I had a different type of boost, and I'll kind of play around with different stuff. I'm probably going to change the fuzz out soon for something that's just nastier, whatever the nastiest thing I can find, But yeah, it's a kind of revolving door, The everything being locked down with the cables kind of makes you kind of locked in a little bit.
Yeah.
Top-loaded pedals versus whatever, but this is kind of where it's at right now. I'm pretty happy with it on this.
Things are always an audition.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, John, thank you so much for your time. We're going to talk to the rest of the guys.
Appreciate it, man.
Killer. All right, now we're joined by Ronnie, the bass player, and Chip Ellis. I'm sure all you guitar dorks know Chip's history, legacy, and what he brings to the table as a guitar designer and builder. Another special project here for Chip and Ronnie is this bass, or two basses, I should say.
Yeah.
Let's go into it, guys. Tell me about it, everything we should know about both basses, the differences, and how this came to be.
Well, this has actually been a long-standing project for the EVH line. This is something Ed was actually pretty passionate about when he was still with us. He was a closet bass player, loved bass tones, and he really dove into it. I mean, when we initially prototyped this thing, I remember we cut a huge swimming pool route out of one of the original bodies, and those pickups kept getting further and further apart. And Ed was always like, we get a bigger variety of tones. Just keep moving them, keep moving them. And I think we landed on a cool placement. They sound good.
Yeah.
We designed those pickups probably 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And they're just big monster hot rock humbuckers for bass. I mean, they're about over half a pound each. You could hurt someone with them. You could hurt your ears with them.
Was there ever any idea or toying with the idea of doing the Ampeg thing where the pickup slide?
Of course. I mean, I love that old weird stuff like that. So of course I think about that. And the Gibson, what was it? The Ripper, the Grabber,
The Grabber.
the Grabber
Yeah.
had the sliding bass.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to trying it. I love weird stuff like that. But yeah, cool basses. I love the way they came out. These are like the first finished prototypes. We tried a few different things, like putting the toggle switch up in the horn on this one, whereas the other one's just got a blend pot.
Okay.
It's got coil taps to give you some more traditional kind of bass tones versus full-on humbucker. So yeah, just kind of a cool, well-rounded bass.
What should we know about woods that are used between the two basses?
Mahogany on both, maple necks, rosewood fingerboards.
Okay.
Just a classic combination.
Nice. And I see you got kind of a, I wouldn't say matching, but definitely a continuation between the headstock and the veneer, or the headstock and the body in terms of color and stuff.
Tried to do the matching headstock thing. Did like a single fade on this one and a double fade.
I love how the fades change.
Yeah, I got bored with burst. Wanted to try something linear. I'm not the first guy to try it, but I'd never done it
too, which I think is
Do
great. The fade continues on the headstock.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of
Which
getting
is
at.
really
It's not
cool.
like a straight up copy. It's like almost a continuation if the fretboard wasn't there.
Right.
Now, Ronnie, what has
Yeah.
been your experience kind of testing these things out on the road with Mammoth?
Man, when they approached me and said, would you want to play a prototype bass? I was like, wow, like the opportunity to have something that nobody else has is just, for me as a bass player, it was amazing. So I welcome the opportunity, and man, this thing is three basses in one. It really is. This is number one I use for the standard and drop D tunes.
Okay.
And this also is fitted with the blend and the coil tap, and I use it all. I use the blend to sculpt the tone throughout the set. I use the coil tap, and I switch to the neck pickup for like a P bass tone. If I want to switch it in the middle here, there's a little notch to get me right in the middle, and I have the coil tap. It gives me like a jazz bass tone. When I put this back down and I put it in the middle, and it gives me like my own kind of thing, And to have the opportunity to sculpt your own tone, as well as to be able to have the opportunity to tonally have any kind of tool you need in your box, if you want to play like a Motown riff, you can do that. If you want to get really aggressive and dig in with a pick, you can do that too. And I think that's really awesome, and it plays great. I haven't had no issue whatsoever between tuning or anything like that. It's got a really cool hip shot drop tuner.
Oh yeah.
So like I said, this one's for standard and drop D, so I can easily just be like ready to go.
Boom.
So that's pretty cool. I never had that before. And
what do we know about Chip or Ronnie with the bridge here? Obviously, it kind of looks like a familiar design.
It's a high mass bridge, and with the black, it just makes it super cool. And I had our buddy Matt make a sticker.
Oh, okay. So I didn't know if that was like a proprietary bridge that you guys created.
No.
Okay.
So just a little something. And then of course we got the hooks.
Gotta.
Just to keep it legit, And then but bass number 2 is really cool because it has the toggle switch. That gives me more of like if I want straight up P bass, straight up jazz bass, or something in the middle with a volume and a tone, like a traditional scenario. And it's awesome. It's also is fitted with the drop tuner because I play this for the D standard and drop C songs.
And can you show the camera real quick, or else we can throw up a photo of the neck joint? People are going to want to probably see that.
Oh,
neck
yeah.
joint, you got the 4-bolt.
It's a 4-bolt.
Nice carve there.
It's carved here. It's not like a square like a traditional Fender, older stuff was, so I can get my hand in there and do all the noodly stuff that Wolf did on the record because I try to do it all. It's awesome.
Yeah, how does that work? Obviously Wolf is known. He's notorious for playing a lot of instruments.
Yeah.
Came up with his dad playing bass in Van Halen.
Right.
But he's running the band now, playing guitar.
Yeah.
But he's a bass player too, so I'm sure you guys are having conversations as this is going on.
In the beginning, it was just so cool to just talk with him about the approach that he did with the bass because, like, I feel the record is like an opus. It's like it's a symphony, and every instrument is played to make the big picture. And there's nobody in there being like, look at me, I'm playing a bass solo. There's nobody in there like, I got a fill in here that I always wanted. Like, everything throughout this song is there for a reason. And it's the most thought out, fun stuff that I've been able to play. So I'm just very honored to get a chance to do it. And I try to do it exactly the way Wolf does it.
And Chip, one more question. Should we know anything specific about scale length? Standard 34?
Standard 34.
That's rad.
And compound radius as well.
And how much of that was part of the, obviously you've got 1 and 2 prototypes, but how much was kind of designed around the neck shapes and what in mind with that regard to like profiles and stuff?
Actually, these profiles are pretty much taken right off the predecessors of these that Wolf played with Van Halen on the last few tours. He started out playing the Relic jazz basses, and then we moved into a Wolfgang bass, and he had the black and silver stripe and the black and yellow stripe. So that neck shape, the neck itself is all off of those original basses.
So it's kind of like, once something's figured out, don't screw it up.
Yeah, pretty much. Those are definitely one of our landmarks.
And with these kind of exposing and showing off the wood, is there any idea of maybe doing straight colors for that, or is that kind of down the line? I'm sorry.
I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will when we get there. But this is, what we like to do with the EVH brand is really crash test everything. If it can survive a tour or two, then we'll talk production. Then we'll talk colors, this and that. So,
yeah.
Hopefully Ronnie will beat these things into submission or continue to. and if they come out in one piece, then
I do, and they're great, man. Yeah, no.
It's like the Highlander. There can only be one. So if this thing survives, it moves on.
Yeah,
indeed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna continue with Ronnie and talk about the rest of his gear. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
Chip. All right. Chip has excused himself from the bass talk because no longer needed. But we're gonna talk bass amps and cabs, and these have special stories, Ronnie. So tell me about it.
I'm actually playing Wolf's rig that he had on the last Van Halen tour. They're two super Bassman Fender heads with an 810 Fender Pro cab, and they sound absolutely awesome. And just the fact that they've been tried and true, tested on the road, I got no worries whatsoever.
Yeah, and is the case part of that equation too in terms of traveling? Because
absolutely,
it's, as we say in the business, it's relic.
It's seen some things, man. So. But they're still rocking, and I love it. So,
and you were saying off camera, not to put you on the spot, that you have left the stickers from Wolf settings.
Those are actually Wolf settings from the tour. I didn't touch any of that. I had my tech Scott put little markers on the knobs just so I know where I'm at. But I wanted to keep everything the way Wolf had it because it's kind of like a piece of history, and I'm just glad to be able to play it and have it make noise again.
Now I'm going to put you on the spot again, Ronnie.
Yeah, for sure.
You had mentioned that you play these super Bassmans, or you might have other ones that you use, but there's a rig rundown you've watched that you pull some settings from, because we got to shut off for our own thing. We got to pat around back sometimes.
I've been a fan of you guys. I've watched many of rig rundown. My favorite was, of course, the Green Day rig rundown, where my buddy Mike Dern also plays the same amps. He helped design this amp.
Yeah.
And I did screen cap the shot that you guys did of it, so I could try and snag his settings. And as you can see, if you do take a pic, the channel 1 is the same settings from you.
That's lovely. Yeah. I love when that happens. It's great. Yeah. So let's dive into some pedals.
Cool.
Ronnie, this is going to be great. This is a treat. I know people have been seeing you guys live. They've been seeing videos online, but this will be a great chance for them to hear what this bass sounds like. So kind of just
You want to hear what it sounds like?
Yeah.
All right.
Rip it, Ronnie.
That's my intro setting.
Oof.
So that's how we start the set.
That's mean.
Right. Let's go through some stuff. I'm playing out of a lot of EVH stuff here.
And a lot of, all guitar pedals.
And all guitar pedals. And they all sound freaking great.
Which speaks to the versatility of the line.
Absolutely. So let's see. This is my normal playing setting. And if I want to get it dirty, and there's also a song that we play sometimes where I throw on the phaser.
That's such a cool thing to hear through a bass.
And when Wolf is doing some crazy solo stuff, I throw on a little chorus just to thicken up all these.
And this one has the one with the blend, right?
So this is the blend.
Yeah,
so
okay.
I use this primarily because I like to blend my own tone. So I have it. This is, I guess, would be Unity. There's a little notch in here.
Okay, so you know where you're at.
So this is both pickups even. Which is cool and aggressive. I like to turn it a little bit towards the bassier side. Thickens it up a little bit. And if I want a P bass tone, I pull the coil tap and I put the pickup to the neck. Here's my P bass tone.
That's a handy little trick.
If I wanted a jazz bass, and if I wanted something like a dual coil MIDI heavy bridge type of sound, you know, it's there. It's got
I
everything.
recognize that line.
Yeah, right? And then my favorite, I'm going to test my tone song is Weezer. And if that sounds right, I'm ready to play.
Yeah, you're ready to go. And two last things we haven't really touched on. You have the gray box. I assume that's
My secret weapon.
for the amp, or is that another weapon I don't know about?
I can't tell you. It's my secret weapon.
Damn.
It's unmarked. No, it's my channel switcher because sometimes the amp is behind me and I can't see if what channel I'm on here. So I had one built, and I have a big blue knob to know exactly where I'm at. So I got my channel 2, which is what I normally play, and channel 1 if I need to clean it up a little bit. I go there.
And then lastly, pitchfork. How are you using that?
And the pitchfork. So in our latest single, Epiphany, Wolf used the low B in the one of the chorus. So the chorus, usually starts with not like that. It goes. But in the studio, he had overdubbed a low B, like a 5-string. But I don't have that. So what I do is I have
That's
this.
That's going to be on Prototype 3.
The Prototype 3 to 5-string, right? Electro Harmonics Pitchfork is going to give me that low B on the one of the chorus. So I have it set so I can step on it and get the octave that I need and then pull away right away instead of like clicking on something and missing it and then I'm like an octave below everybody.
Yeah.
It's not going to work out. So for the one, every other one I do, in the beginning I was playing a chord to fill it up,
Okay.
It does the same kind of thing, and then on the last tour, I picked this little pitchfork up, and every other one I do the low B, and it's cool. So it's
shortcut.
That's exactly what it is on the record. So.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
Ronnie, thank you so much. I think we're going to cruise on over to
Thank you, brother.
Frank.
Hell yeah, Brother Frank. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Premier Guitar.
Last but certainly not least, familiar face to all you rock fans, Frank. Frank, how you doing?
I'm good, Chris.
Yeah, thank you for
Thanks for
joining
having
us.
me.
Absolutely, man. Why not? This is a special guitar to you, and you got to pick it up in our hometown. I should have said, Nashville born and raised guitar.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
So I am convinced that I saw this at NAMM in 2020. This might have been the one on the wall that started my love for anything olive drab.
Yeah.
And I saw it then. I took a photo. I asked all the Gibson people, like, "Hey, what's the story?" They're like, "We'll get it around to you. We'll get it in stores. We're not really sure." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." Pandemic happens. Here we are in Nashville, 2022. Sorry, recently. I ended up finding this online. It was at Rumble Seat Music, so a local store out there. And I told Slash, I told everyone, I was like, "Hey, that guitar I've been telling you guys about for years, it exists in person somewhere, and we'll be in Nashville soon." So we go down there, I demo the guitar, and I just, ended up being even better than I imagined. Because, I've had 64 reissues, so this is a custom shop 1964 SG reissue. I've had a couple before, but, each guitar is different. Each neck is, kind of similar, but for whatever reason, this was just the magic one.
Yeah.
It's just the best.
And I brought it up off camera just before we started rolling that it kind of reminds me of the Chris Cornell olive, but you said this is
so
not.
It's close. Yeah, it's very close to the Chris Cornell color, but it's not matte. So his guitar is specifically, it's almost a little darker because it's a matte finish. It's that flat color, but even though this is flat, it still has a gloss to it, so it's pretty special. And I never thought I would be the green guitar guy. It just became my thing over the last couple of years. It looks good on any guitar, really. This specific, like I said, not completely matte, but that gloss,
There's a sweet spot for it.
There really is, yeah. I love it.
And should we know anything about this guitar since you've had it relatively short? Is there anything you've changed on it, or is it as it is?
I'm not touching this one. This one is perfect the way it is. And the thing was, for a minute there, I didn't think I was going to be able to get the guitar, and last minute we ended up getting it. But I thought to myself before, it's like, well, I could see if Gibson will build me one. I'll have to, commission them to make it happen. But I was like, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
It's just not the same. I know you can make it close, but each guitar is its own thing.
Two questions before we move on is, what are you using for strings and brand and gauge?
So usually I'm using the Ernie Ball Paradigm.
Okay.
So with Slash I use 11s, and we're tuned a half step down, but here I'm using 11s as well in standard tuning. So it's a little tighter, but it works. I mean, for what we got going on here, considering it's 3 guitars, we all play a different role guitar-wise. And I do feel like, I'm playing rhythm and leads, so it just kind of covers all that ground, It's pretty, a lot of people don't like the 11s. I tend to go to 10s sometimes too when I'm not with Slash, but lately I'm just in the 11s mode. I go back and forth.
Yeah.
You don't have to work so hard sometimes.
It's a revolving
sometimes
door.
It works. Yeah. Yeah, I'm back and forth with it.
Now, I imagine this might be, since you sound so enamored with it, this is kind of all night or whenever it can stay in tune and stay with you?
And you know what? Believe it or not, the Maestro, the Lear Vibrola bridge is kind of synonymous with being out of tune and not holding. But for whatever reason, mine have been really stable, believe it or not, for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because, like I said, it's a 64 reissue. These necks are like 59 necks. So
Okay.
It's not that thinner kind of 61 SG neck that is pretty unstable. This one really does just stay together for some reason,
Those 5-year differences, they kind of figured it out.
They really did, yeah. But I go back and forth. I actually play this only for, I think, for one song in this set, but I keep swapping it up. I have another SG and a couple Les Pauls as well, so I've been back and forth. I don't know. I'm trying to see where they need to be in the set. You know what I mean? But I feel like I could play this the entire time.
And just so we know, is this the actual guitar that you saw in NAMM? Is this the NAMM prototype or not?
The problem is the photo I have, you'll see the tag. I think if it's not the exact one, it's like one serial number off.
Okay.
Super close.
Got
so either way, and if I find that one, I'm getting that one too. So we'll figure it out. I have to.
Well, moving on, we've covered the EVH heads that are all in line here with you guys, but they're all slightly different. You are running the Stealth.
Yes. And what's so cool about this is that this is the 50-watt version of the flagship amp that Ed used.
Yeah.
So he was using 100 watt, and this is a 50 watt. And for me, coming from being like a Marshall guy, an Orange guy over the years, which is it's classic tone. It's pretty. It's not crazy high gain. Like this is very very much the melding of both worlds. To where I feel like it has that crazy gain if you want it, but it also has a very classic vibe as well. So it's I roll down my volume when I play. Like if I need to, I'm not like I don't channel switch. So I just stay on number 2 and just kind of roll my volume back. And this really works that way because some amps when you turn them down, especially high gain amps, it just kind of kills the vibe. There's no power there, but this has it. So
you're in full control of that in regard on board with the guitar.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on to Pedalboard. You got a few treats there for us?
Oh, yeah. Well, it wouldn't be right if I didn't have this specific Phase 90.
Yeah.
I think it's just so extra cool to have the stripes. But, a standard Phase 90. But it has the script button to give it the vintage tone. And I got this guy here, which is it's essentially that whammy.
Without the foot.
Just one pedal, so you don't have the entire Tom Morello stuff. You don't have all the options there, but essentially the same, so it's really cool. I use that just for a couple octave things.
All right, moving on from the Ricochet, what do we got next?
So it's a Walrus Audio distortion, but since I have plenty of distortion already stock in that head, I use this more so just this oversaturation kind of boost thing.
Okay.
So a couple of moments in the show where I just hit it and it just gives that instant feedback and that wash of just full, just almost too much gain. But
here I am.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Taking all the frequencies from the other guitar players.
Yeah.
And then the carbon copy. So I've had a bunch of different delays over the years, but I feel like they get too busy and it's just too much. And I feel like for whatever reason over the years, this has been the one for me. It's always just kind of held everything I needed. It's just like it's not too much and I don't know. Like, I'm so particular with delays too, and I just feel like nothing really does what I need it to. And this is just so easy, just an easy analog delay, you know.
Yeah, and it sounds good.
Yeah, I love it. I really do love it. And what's cool is that I keep it on the same setting at all times, and it works for everything. I don't have to pedal worship and jump down and change everything, you know. And then I just have a simple little volume pedal. It's just easy for the tuning. I just keep it down for tuning, you know, if I need to in any setting, and I just crank it back up. And as simple as that.
And you got the noise gate. Is that something just maybe based on what room you're in and how that's?
It was depending on which SG I was using, because the other SG I had, the pickups were unpotted, so it was just crazy. It was screaming. If I had to play and hold it, and then even sometimes if I held it, it would still scream.
Like
an
unruly toddler.
It was too much. Yeah, yeah. And I'm definitely in my SG phase, if you could tell. It's the guitar I always wanted to have, but I never found the right one. And then over the years, I had played a couple, but then once I found that 64, that was the one. And once I played that first one, like I said, it's kind of, they really made it true to spec, like unpotted, and it was just almost unbearable, like in this setting, you know, with like higher gain. So I finally found the right one. And then I have the noise gate to just help me in case I need it. But lately I've kept it off, believe it or not. So yeah, we're not taking off too much yet.
Well, Frank, so much. Shit.
We'll say it. Frank, you so much, man. It's a pleasure.
So much.
Yeah.
Frank, thank you so much. Appreciate all the Mammoth guys.
Yeah.
Go snatch up those SGs before Frank comes to visit
I'm
your town with
coming for 'em
Mammoth
all.
or Slash. He's coming for them. Thank you guys.